Picture this. It's late 2025. A massive container ship loaded with billions of dollars worth of the world's most advanced artificial intelligence chips is floating just off the coast of Shenzhen. For years, the US government has banned these ultra-powerful microchips from entering China. But suddenly, President Donald Trump signs a surprising executive order giving these specific chips a golden ticket. Nvidia executives are ready to pop champagne, anticipating a $30 billion wave of revenue. But then, the unexpected happens. The Chinese government steps in and says, "Turn the ships around. We don't want them." Welcome to the AI with Arun Show. Today, we are diving into the Silicon Rejection, the incredible, untold story of how China snubbed the absolute king of AI hardware and how it triggered the most aggressive domestic microchip race in human history. To understand how we got here, we have to look at the massive political gamble that took place just a few months ago. In late 2025, the Trump administration offered a massive olive branch to Beijing, clearing Nvidia to export its premium H200 AI processors to 10 of China's largest tech giants. It seemed like a win-win. US companies make billions, and Chinese tech keeps moving forward. But during a high-stakes state visit to Beijing in May 2026, Chinese regulators stunned the American delegation. Not only did they refuse to buy the H200s, but they also outright banned Nvidia's entry-level consumer gaming flagship, the RTX 5090D V2. In a single coordinated move, Beijing effectively shrank Nvidia's future market share in China down to zero. Why would a country starving for AI power reject the best chips on the planet? Let's follow the money. The first reason for this rejection is pure economics. You see, the H200s didn't come cheap, and they certainly didn't come tax-free. Under Trump's deal, the US government slapped a heavy 25% import tariff on every single chip bound for China. Think of it like buying a high-performance sports car, but the dealership forces you to pay a massive recurring tax just to keep it in your garage. For Chinese cloud giants like Alibaba, Tencent, and ByteDance, this tariff destroyed their return on investment. Training massive AI models requires tens of thousands of these chips, running 24/7. Adding a 25% penalty on top made US hardware financially impossible. Instead of sending billions of dollars to the US Treasury in taxes, Chinese tech giants decided to take that exact same money and invest it back into their own local factories. But the financial burden was just the tip of the iceberg. Beijing had three massive strategic concerns. First, security. Washington demanded that all these chips route through US-controlled territory for rigorous inspection before shipping. To Beijing, this felt like sending your private diary to an adversary to proofread. They feared hardware-level spyware, physical tampering, or tracking mechanisms. Second, policy volatility. Relying on American hardware is like relying on a volatile business partner who threatens to block your access every other week. One signature in Washington could brick China's entire AI industry overnight. And third, the 90-10 ratio. Industry insiders in May 2026 are pointing out a shocking reality. Domestic Chinese AI chips are now roughly 90% as capable as Nvidia's scaled-down export models, but they cost only 10% of the price. When your local option is almost as good and incredibly cheap, paying a premium to your geopolitical rival simply makes no sense. With Nvidia officially locked out of the picture, China had to answer a terrifying question. How do we power the future of artificial intelligence entirely on our own? This brings us to the second chapter of our story. China didn't just reject the West's chips to make a political statement. They did it because they had a secret weapon. Let's look at the master plan, the key breakthroughs, and the domestic champions that are quietly rewriting the rules of silicon physics right now in 2026. If there is one company that has turned American sanctions into its greatest business opportunity, it is Huawei. With Nvidia forced to retreat, Huawei immediately stepped into the vacuum. Analysts project that Huawei's AI processor division will pull in a staggering $12 billion in revenue by the end of 2026, That is a 60% surge compared to last year. Their champion is this, the Ascend 950 PR. Mass production began in March 2026, and it has absolutely swept the Chinese market. Every single major Chinese tech firm that used to buy from Silicon Valley is now placing massive orders with Huawei. But how did Huawei build a world-class AI chip without access to the advanced Western machines required to print them? This is where the story gets mind-bending. To make a chip faster, the traditional rule of physics is simple. Shrink the transistors so you can pack more of them onto a piece of silicon. But to do that, you need highly restricted EUV machines from Europe, which China is banned from buying. So China decided to bypass the rules of traditional lithography entirely, using a new concept called the Tao Scaling Law and a technique called logic folding. Let's use an easy analogy. Imagine a city where traffic is terribly congested. Traditional scaling says, make all the cars smaller so we can fit more lanes on the road. Huawei's logic folding says, keep the cars the same size, but build multi-level double-decker highways and fold the city map so the destinations are physically closer together. By radically reorganizing how circuits are wired, they've managed to slash signal delays and boost performance, achieving high-end speeds on older, completely self-reliant manufacturing equipment. This isn't just a Huawei story, though. In May 2026, the Chinese government officially certified 9 domestic AI chip architectures for state and enterprise use, creating a highly competitive local ecosystem. On this table, you can see the titans of this new era. Huawei's Ascend series handles the massive, heavy-duty training of large language models. Alibaba's T-Head division has rolled out the Zhenwu M890, powering cloud services and autonomous AI agents. Biren technology is tackling enterprise-level inference, while More Threads is deploying high-speed graphics architectures for desktops and edge devices. By certifying these specific processors, Beijing has ensured that its software developers are writing code optimized for domestic silicon, permanently breaking the software monopoly Nvidia held for over a decade. So where does this leave us in the long run? The global investment firm Morgan Stanley has just released a landmark projection looking out to the year 2030. They predict that China's domestic AI accelerator market will explode into a $67 billion powerhouse. But here is the kicker. Local Chinese vendors are projected to capture an overwhelming 86% of that entire market. Only 14% will be left for foreign imports or gray market shadow channels. This is a complete structural reversal. What was once a market entirely dependent on American technology is on track to achieve near total self-sufficiency in just a few short years. To prove this isn't just wishful thinking, look at Huawei's concrete roadmap leading into the next decade. We kicked off this year, in March 2026, with the rollout of the Ascend 950 PR, which successfully stabilized China's cloud infrastructure. By the end of this year, they are launching the 950 DT, upgrading memory capacity to a massive 144 gigabytes to handle next-generation AI models. By late 2027, the Ascend 960 will debut, specifically designed to run agentic AI, systems that don't just answer questions, but actively execute complex tasks on their own. And by 2031, using advanced Tao scaling, Huawei aims to match the performance density of a 1.4 nanometer chip, completely closing the gap with Western technology. At this time, I will request you to consider joining us as a member and support our work. Please click Join right below this video. Okay, so as we close out today's deep dive, let's wrap up with a final, fascinating historical parallel. Back in the late 1950s, during the height of the Cold War, the Soviet Union abruptly pulled all of its nuclear scientists and technical blueprints out of China, expecting China's defense program to collapse. Deprived of foreign help, the Chinese government launched a secret, desperate initiative called Project 596. Working with nothing but slide rules and sheer determination, they successfully built their first atomic test in just 5 years. Today, we are witnessing the modern, digital sequel to that exact story. By attempting to completely isolate China from high-end silicon, the West has inadvertently forced a sleeping giant to build its own independent tech universe. The global tech ecosystem has officially fractured into two completely separate, incompatible worlds. I want to hear from you. Do you think China's architectural hacks like logic folding can truly defeat traditional physics in the long run? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into tech geopolitics, and I'll see you in the next video.